started OBS. So I have like a
Uh,
local recording.
huh.
Oh, and you said you brought the stream up earlier. I think that might have tricked me a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I had the waiting thing up.
I see. Okay, well,
Okay.
anyways, is it showing up now?
Yeah, 7 habits highly effective people.
Yeah, okay, so this is an ebook version right here. This is the EPUB. I'm opening it in the Books app on Mac. Here's the Wikipedia page. They have sold over 15 million copies of this book. And when they say that, they
Huh.
mean like paper copies. The publication date is 1989.
89.
Yeah,
Yep.
came
Okay.
out quite a while ago. You can go on Amazon, and I can go to paperback and see, there's a paperback version. So there's like a regular book.
Yeah.
Right, but you can also read it on your Kindle, you can read it on your iPad, you can read it on your computer. That's what an ebook is.
Mm.
Electronic book. If you can read on a computer, that's an ebook.
This price $400. Buy new $15. Paperback.
But where does it say for? Oh, here? What
Uh,
the fuck, Amazon, you lying bastards. Yeah, that's just a bullshit price. Save 96%. Go fuck
uh,
yourselves, Amazon. They occasionally have some really bad data that overestimates their discounts.
huh.
If I get a hardcover, I'll bet you the list price is, yeah, $30, mark 10 to 27. Do they think the list price on it's probably out of print and paperback. So that's probably contributing to their bad data. It even says like arrives. Like yeah, and it doesn't say Prime on it.
Hmm. Okay.
Which book, Justin? Seven Habits? I've read like 20% of this book, sort of the introduction part, and I'm not impressed so far. The reason I was reading it is that Goldratt highly recommended it. He was impressed by this book. So I was giving it a try, but I'm pretty skeptical so far. What did you think of it? Anyway, right, so what I was saying is that books are important. Like, they're one of the most important parts of human civilization. Like the printing press was one of the inventions that changed the world. And that's a standard belief. That's not just my opinion. It's like a
Hmm.
mainstream view.
Yeah. I remember talking to you about
Yeah, movable type where you can move the letters around.
uh, I was gonna say about like
See
uh
this?
oh,
Those
images
are
print.
like those might be whole words that you could move around. Maybe they instead of doing individual letters, they use common words to save effort. That would make sense. But anyways, those are the
Mhm.
little metal things that you can arrange them in order. And then here, yeah, you can see this is what it looks like. They've put the words make a sentence.
Hmm.
And then you can pull the words off and put them back somewhere else and then print something else. Like a stamp. You dip it in ink and then press it against paper. So, and then once you put in a book, you can make like 1,000 copies in a row of the same book, which is what
Yeah.
print runs of books are. They try to guess how many copies they can sell, and then they print like that many books. And then if they sell out, if some books are way more popular than expected, they sell out. So then they do another edition where they're like, okay, and then they put all the things back together and make the book again.
Yeah, and I also remember talking to you about like, what was it? Books not being as common, so you'd have to go to like a library or like a major library. Like if it's really hard to create books, then it would only be like in maybe a really major library in like a big city. But then like if you can print them more, then they can eventually like be distributed to like smaller libraries. So you could like go to the library in your town and then read a book. And then if they get printed even more, if it becomes even cheaper, then you could buy like your own personal copy. So you
Yeah,
don't even have to go to the library.
even when they had the printing press, books were still expensive. So, like
Yeah.
when Godwin came out with Political Justice, I think it was specifically about that book, but I'm not sure. There's some quote from some guy at the time. He said something like, "A book that costs £2 can't change the world. It's too expensive for the masses to buy it."
Hmm.
It's like, imagine it costs like $1,000 today for one book. Like most people aren't
Yeah.
gonna buy it who work for like $10 an hour. And they're like, "What? This costs like 100 hours of working at my job to buy this book." Like very few of them are gonna buy it.
I like thinking of price things in terms of like hours spent working. I don't know how common that is.
Yeah, it's a good method. I don't think it's like particularly common, but other people know about it. It's one of the ways you can do comparisons to the past because it's hard to figure out the exchange rate for like pounds in the year
Oh
1800
yeah,
versus dollars today. So you can look at, a common laborer, how many hours does he have to work to buy it? That gives you a
yeah.
decent comparison.
Patio11, I think, on Twitter, showed like a really good example, I think, kind of. He was talking about like how expensive clothings were back in the day, and it was like the
Yeah.
1800s or something, and like a navyman worked like he got like $10 per month, but the suit he wore, like the navy uniform, cost like $80. So that shows like how much things cost, and it also is like good at showing like 8 months of work equals one like navy uniform.
Yeah, clothes have gotten ridiculously cheaper. It is a nice improvement. Anyway, so books are like one of the main things that have like sort of made civilization exist at all and have passed on knowledge to future people. So one of the main things that makes schools work, to the extent they work, is that you don't just like listen to the teacher. It's not so before writing, they had what are called oral tradition, meaning that people like learn stuff and then they tell their kids who tell their kids who tell their kids. And you can also tell like other people from your village or whatever. Right? So it gets passed down by talking instead of writing. And
That sounds like things could get lost in communication.
exactly, yeah. Every time someone passes it on, it gets changed a bit. I think my volume's a bit loud. You too. Let's turn you down. All right, testing. Yeah, I'm in the yellow. That looks a little better.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, things get lost in translation. They get changed. Details get screwed up. So oral traditions are not that good. They're a million times better than nothing. Like, if you had nothing, you just have to make everything up from scratch, like reinvent the wheel, as they say.
Yeah.
So,
So it's
so
like a tradition instead of no tradition, kind of.
yeah, so having so people passed on ideas verbally. They told people who told people who told people, and this is a huge step up from not doing that. And then writing things down worked like way better. You could reread things, you could take your time with them, and the details wouldn't get changed, and you could look at it again later and it'd be the same. And a smart person could write like something really good, and then a lot of people could copy it. And you can copy writing more accurately than you can copy speech. Like if you have a dumb person copying a smart person, and they're trying to explain the same ideas in words out loud, a year later from memory, they're gonna screw it up a bit, right?
Yeah, so it might take like a really skillful person who can like really remember well to copy a speech in their mind. But like you can be low skilled and copy a book. You just need to like match the words.
Yeah, right. So they can have dumb people copy books correctly or like pretty close.
Okay, here's my 4 notes so far.
Yeah, so books are like the secret key to life that's like the cheat code that lets you do really well at life. They're not the only answer to like cheat codes for getting ahead in life, but they're one of the main answers. One of the other cheat codes is like social climbing. You go to like an Ivy League college and you make friends with other people in high places, and then you like do favors for each other. And some of them work for the government and do favors for you and make laws that benefit your company and so on and so forth.
So like
And that's
okay,
that's one of the cheat codes.
trying to
Another one is
interpret
like
it
being
as
born
in
rich.
trying to think of it as like Peter Keating. Uh,
Yeah, right.
like,
So Keating did not come from privilege, right? He worked his way
yeah,
up. He got into a pretty good school. I don't know exactly how high up Stanton was. Like Rourke got in.
yeah.
Um,
It had like Guy Francone talk at it.
yeah. Well, he went to that school.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so it could be like a lower class school, but like this really
Yeah, I mean,
smart.
I think it was at least like pretty high up. I just don't know if it was like top school, like super elite, or just pretty good.
Hmm. It's kind of interesting. Like Wynand, Keating, and Rourke started like at approximately the same places, I think.
Yeah, they all came from nothing, approximately.
I think Keating had it better. It seems like he had a mother and like a house to always live in. Uh, doesn't seem like that for Rourke and Wynand though.
I'm just distracted checking how privileged Jeff Bezos' childhood was. I see that he went to Princeton, but I'm curious about before that, like if his parents had money or what.
Hmm.
Oh, he was born to a 17-year-old mother. His father was a bike shop owner.
Huh.
His parents divorced. His mother married a Cuban immigrant. Oh, he was 4 years old, and the new father adopted him, and that's where the Bezos name comes from. They moved to Texas, where Mike worked as an engineer for an oil company and got a degree from University of New Mexico. Okay, so they're not coming from privilege.
Hmm.
He went to River Oaks Elementary School. Oh, his maternal grandfather was a regional director of the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission. That's something, but it doesn't sound super high.
Yeah.
He went to Miami Palmetto High School. Yeah, public school. That's the thing I was about to check. River Oaks is a magnet school. But then, yeah, he went to public high school. That doesn't sound super exclusive, although I don't know the area. Oh, he worked at McDonald's while in high school. Okay, yeah. So he's not going to like some exclusive private school and working at McDonald's at the same time. That would not make sense. Right? If they have the money to pay like 10 grand a year or whatever for him to go to fancy school, probably more than that now. He's not working at McDonald's part-time while going to school. He was
Okay.
high school valedictorian and a National Merit Scholar. Okay, so he got like the top grades in high school, and that's how he got into Princeton. So yeah, he used the cheat code of get into the high status stuff and meet all the fancy people
Hmm.
and make friends with them. He also read books though, so he did that too. Books were definitely a part of it.
Okay, so it's not like only social climbing. I don't really know what Jeff Bezos did. Uh,
Oh,
yeah.
founder of Amazon.
How much did he do with that though?
Oh,
Like,
yeah, I don't know exactly what he did. That's hard to explain.
I think like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates like started out in garages and then like made their money, which seems
Oh,
like
so the Steve Jobs did a lot of stuff. I know stuff about what he did. Bill Gates
uh,
though is an interesting story because um yeah, there were various versions of the story where he actually didn't do much. That was
huh,
very productive. He like made some business deals and got a bit lucky, and things worked out really well for him.
huh.
But there are definitely versions of the story where he was not like contributing much to humanity, like usefully or productively or inventing things or whatever.
So like if you just randomly invest a bunch of stock in like Apple or Bitcoin, just like on a whim, not really thinking about it, you didn't really do much, but you got lucky
Yeah,
and then
if
like
you
made a
just got
bunch of money.
lucky. Yeah, what he did was not similar to that. But so he made a deal to license an operating system. So basically, like he got something someone else made and like underpaid for it was very roughly the story. And then later, what he did, another story which is also debatable, is modify Windows dramatically to make it much, much, much more like Apple computers because they were better designed.
So one of the stories is he just kind of copied Apple.
Yeah, and there was in fact a lawsuit over this, and that Microsoft did pay out millions of dollars,
Huh.
which did not really was not enough if they were guilty. Doesn't really make sense, but whatever.
Okay, so what do you know about Steve Jobs? Did he start in a garage and do good things?
Yeah, so he worked with Woz in a garage. Woz was the technical guy. Woz
Was.
actually like learned how to put computers together and to write basic code and stuff like that. Steve Jobs dabbled in those things, but he wasn't like a tech genius, like in the like sciencey technical way, like an engineer. Like
Hmm.
Woz was really good at that stuff, like the super nerd.
Hmm.
And Steve Jobs was the other partner who supplied like the business skill, the marketing, the sales, the talking to people, the organizing the company, like turning it into a business when it wouldn't have been without him. And
Hmm.
he did a lot of the design, like he understood aesthetics, like how do we make this act and user interfaces. So he made it like nice to use and had a good eye for detail. A lot of nerdy people make things that are sort of utilitarian. Like it
Hmm.
works, it's functional, I'm done. Whereas Steve had an eye for beauty and making it nice to use and making it usable by the average person. He did a good job of making it accessible so normal people could use a computer.
So
That was
like
really
a
important to him.
command, it's like a command prompt program would be like good enough if you know how to use it. Uh, but like
Yeah, in
something
a lot of
with
ways.
graphical interfaces are like a
Yeah.
lot easier to use if you don't really know what you're doing.
Yeah, he certainly didn't invent everything. So he visited Xerox, um, and they showed him their user interface stuff, and they like Xerox had a mouse and a user interface where you actually have a mouse with like windows and like files on a desktop or something kind of like the Mac a little bit.
Yeah.
But at Xerox, it was just sitting around not really being used. No one really cared. They were just like, oh, hey, some visitors, let's show them. Like, they showed it off on purpose. Um, and Steve like saw the potential and was like, there are some really important ideas here, and he like pursued them more than Xerox did.
Hmm. Okay, that sounds like a thing where people would say Apple just copied another product.
I mean, yeah, so it's like, this is very common. It's when you make stuff, it's not gonna be 100% original. If it's like 20% original, sometimes that's pretty good. So Steve definitely added some stuff, but it's not like everything was made from scratch. Like,
Yeah.
like when they started putting together computers, what did they do? They bought computer components made by various companies. And they're like, well, we'll take one of these and two of these and one of this and one of this, and we'll put them together, and now we have a computer, right? They're building computers not out
Yeah.
of raw materials, but out of things that other companies are already manufacturing. Like, they didn't invent CPUs or RAM or whatever. They just bought the different parts and put them together and sold the package. That was how they got started. Is like there were hobbyists who wanted computers, but it was like hard to put it together yourself. Like, how
Hmm.
people build their own PCs now,
Yeah, it's like
right?
a lot easier.
It was kind of like you had to do that, but much, much harder.
Huh.
Whereas, like, and so Apple was like, what if you could just buy a computer and it comes put together like when you buy a laptop today? You know?
Hmm.
Right? So they
Yeah.
were putting together computers for people. That adds value. People don't have to put their own computers together.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about Jeff Bezos earlier. This is pretty tangential, but so so George Reisman has
Makes
defended Jeff Bezos. Like a lot of people hate on Jeff Bezos. He's super rich.
Oh
He's
yeah.
part of tech,
One thing I
big
wanted
tech.
to one thing I wanted to say is it seems like left-wing people, maybe right-wing people as well, I'm not sure, seem to dislike Bezos because he like makes a lot of money. But it also seems like he should be a kind of success story to like left-wing. Like he was the son of a Cuban immigrant
He's the
and
adopted son of a Cuban immigrant.
he was an
He
adopted
worked at
child.
McDonald's while he worked at McDonald's while he was in high school, dude.
Yeah, so that seems like something where people should be like happy, but I guess if you have like the idea that profit is theft or whatever, if that's like your like primary thing, then
Yeah.
no
So
success is good. Like
people like
success would
Bernie
be negative
Sanders.
value.
Yeah. People like Bernie Sanders want to propose a wealth tax. Like you
Okay.
figure out every year you calculate how much money do you have, and then the government just takes like 1% of it. So that's different than an income tax, which is they take 1% of your new money. This is like whatever you save, they take 1% of it, and then if you don't spend it, then next year they take another 1%. If you don't spend it, then next year they take another 1%, and so on.
Yeah.
This is really, really evil.
I remember okay. I watched a YouTube video about like New York's wealth tax, and the guy was just talking about like, oh, this is bad because we shouldn't let the government like keep doing more taxes. But I was like, no, I feel like this is way worse than like just an income tax for some reason. I remember feeling
Yeah.
like that wealth
So
tax and like death
it
taxes where like you don't get to give all your money to like your children seemed like especially bad. And I think it's especially bad because it's like taking the money that you already have instead of just like taking the money you're going to have. It's like the money that you already have like in your bank account, but then like nope, you don't get to decide what to do with it. We're just taking even more of it.
yeah, that's definitely part of it. Like once you own something, it should be fucking yours and you get to keep it. That is an important part of like how property works in general. Like imagine if the government just came to your house and they're like, "Oh, I see you've got a nice computer here, and you've got a nice quilt. I'm gonna take these things." And like they went
Yeah.
through your cupboards and they're like, I'm gonna take a few of these cans of soup. These look nice. Like they're just going through and grabbing your food. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
right. It's bad when they take the things you think you already have. That's definitely a problem. The one of the other problems with a wealth tax is it discourages capital accumulation. It discourages people from actually like having a bunch of wealth and keeping it over time. So building up wealth is like how the world makes progress. Is some people need to be able to afford like machinery to fill up the factories.
Capital is like the means of production, I think. I remember Reisman talking about
Yeah,
it. Like
yeah,
consumer goods would like maybe be a really nice keyboard or something, or just like kind of nice things, or maybe food or whatever. But then like capital is like the factories and I'm guessing farms and like gold mines
yeah.
or whatever.
Right. So there's goods that are used for the purpose of production, and there's goods that are used for the purpose of consumption, which
Hmm.
means like luxury or staying alive or whatever. But you're just using it up to make your life better in some way, versus
Hmm.
the stuff that you're using to produce more stuff. Um, and so when you do a wealth tax, what ends up happening is most of the tax goes on the capital goods, the ones that are used to make more stuff. And it's called eating the seed corn as a common metaphor. Seed corn means the corn
Uh,
that you can plant to make more corn, right?
yeah,
So you have to be like really, really desperate to eat that, because if you eat that, then you're screwing over future harvests, right?
yeah. You have to like be about to die, or else.
Yeah. So it's a well-known saying, because you can imagine in the past there were all these farmers who did not get enough to eat, right? They're hungry and they're saving the seed corn to plant in a couple months. And they're like,
Yeah,
I'm hungry now, but we really shouldn't eat this, huh? Right?
yeah,
So you can imagine, like, that's a serious thing. Like, they actually have food in the house that they could eat, and they're like resisting the temptation and not eating it. Um, so it's similar with like the factories. You can tear up the factories and be like, let's just have parties and spend all this stuff, but you could also keep your machines so you can build more stuff later.
yeah. I think I don't exactly know how Bezos' wealth work, but like if you go on Wikipedia and like look at his net worth or whatever, it's like $200 billion, and I think people assume that it's just like money in his bank account, like a Scrooge McDuck vault or something. But I think like a lot of that is like Amazon
Yeah,
stock, and like
Reese.
Amazon stock is like money that is inside of Amazon that is doing things. It's
Yes,
like stuff that,
right. The money is invested in businesses. It's not just sitting around for his personal use. That is a very important fact about it. So Reisman defends Bezos. A lot of people hate him, and they don't understand that. But I was thinking about it. So Reisman's basic defense is something like, um, Bezos deserves his billions of dollars because he supplied the guiding and directing intelligence to make Amazon a success. His leadership created huge value. Something like that. That's Reisman's case. And
assuming
yeah,
that's true, I think would be right.
yeah. So this is the standard pro-capitalist view of how do you defend businessmen. How do they earn their money, right? Is they
Hmm.
make decisions about what things should our business produce, what initiatives should our business do, what should it spend its money on, and who should we hire, and so on and so forth. And you make all these decisions. If it adds up to a really successful company and makes a ton of profit, you did a good job, and that's helping the world and making the world a better place, and so on.
Yeah.
However, I have a few doubts about this.
Hmm.
So one of them is Bezos is dating a bimbo. Okay, so
Hmm.
Bezos has over $100 billion. He could do whatever the fuck he wants with his life, right? He's in a position to be like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
fund sons, right? He could just be like, I'm gonna be the sons guy. And there are a lot of other choices.
Yeah, like life extension thing, sense.
Yeah, right. So that's one of the things he could do. He could be like, I'm personally gonna supply sons with like the entire budget they asked for because he has enough money.
Hmm.
Okay, so So what does he do when he gets to the top of fucking society, right? He's like, he's reached the top, he's climbed up.
He's like the #1 person.
And right, is this guy actually this super genius whose amazing intelligence is worth $100 billion? Has he supplied so much value to the world because he's so fucking smart? If that was true, would he be dating a bimbo? Would he have picked a TV news anchor who wears a bunch of makeup and has big boobs? Because my
Huh.
answer to that question is I don't think so. I don't think that that is what the really smart people would do. Like, if Karl Popper had sold a lot more books, would he have married a bimbo? If David Deutsch had 1,000 times the followers and was a bit rich and could get a bimbo, would he get one? I don't think so. Like,
Yeah.
if you go through everyone I actually admire and know enough about intellectually to say that they're actually really smart, I think none of them would want to date the person Bezos is dating.
I don't know who Bezos is dating. I just know that he like divorced and lost like $50 billion or something.
Yeah, so I honestly have not like researched her. I just know she's like a TV talking head with big tits. Like
Hmm.
Bezos' girlfriend. So I'm totally going by stereotypes, but like I've, heard the occasional news article and there doesn't seem to be anything to contradict it out there.
Hmm.
I mean, she's certainly not making smart face in this picture. Like, she's not pretending to be smart, I think, is the takeaway.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't dye her hair blonde, so maybe she's pretending to be smart in some way.
Hmm. Okay, that seems like a good point. If he's like really smart and good, why does he just decide to like date a bimbo?
Yeah, I
Not
mean
very
that
used to
might
that
be
term,
too
but I think
harsh.
it's
Like
like kind of a
if
not
someone
smart
thinks
person.
I'm wrong, they can research her, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she's like really clever and is just unusual for her job. Let's look her up, by the way. What is her job actually? Lauren Sanchez. Wikipedia. Okay, she is an Emmy Award-winning American news anchor, entertainment reporter, media personality, actress, producer, pilot, and entrepreneur. She's a frequent guest host on The View. She has been on Larry King Live, Joy Behar, and Showbiz. Yeah, this does not sound like a smart person to me.
The entrepreneur thing seems like the promising thing. It said she was like an entrepreneur or something. I don't exactly know what that really means though. It seems like business stuff. It doesn't seem important enough to be on the Wikipedia article though.
All of this to me screams social climber. Like,
Hmm.
pretty girl trying to get ahead by um having charisma and being judged by her appearance and so on.
Hmm. Huh. Okay.
So yeah, what I was gonna say is, if someone wants to research her and say that she's more than she appears, feel free to correct me. Like I didn't research it, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
skeptical.
So, what kind of person would a smart person date?
Someone smart?
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much the answer. Okay, now this is not the only
Huh.
piece of evidence I have about Bezos. I don't, I have not researched Bezos, but offhand I know several more pieces of evidence about him that I think are notable. So, here's another one. Um, Bezos recommended or made top execs read 3 books. The Goal. I know about this because he recommended The Goal to people. He made some of his people read it. And 2 dumb books. I'm not positive they're dumb, but I'm pretty suspicious. I haven't read them yet.
Hmm.
So if he's gonna list 3 books, he could have listed The Goal, It's Not Luck, and Critical Chain, all by Goldratt. He did not. To me, this says he read the goal, and he did not really understand it and realize that Goldratt was better than the other people. Like, he couldn't really tell the difference between a Goldratt and a not Goldratt. Like, if you've actually found the goal and read it, you should be able to see this is way better than the other ones. Like, you know, rather than just saying, oh, the goal's nice and this other one's nice and this other one's nice. But you should recognize it, that it's actually like way better and different. If you can't tell the difference, there's something wrong with you. So I think the fact that the goal is on his list is a bad sign about him, because he knew it existed, he read it, and he still didn't recognize its value. That
So
to
didn't
me,
like follow up on like Goldratt and like look at all his other books and be like, oh my god, these are also amazing. All the top execs need to read this.
right. Or he may have read them, but like didn't recommend them or something. I don't know what's going on, but like it seems like he didn't go super Goldratt for some reason. Right, so there's something wrong there, and he does not have the excuse, well, I've never heard of Goldratt, I didn't know. Which actually isn't a very good excuse. Goldratt is sufficiently well known for business people that having never heard of him would be weird and mean he like wasn't looking around or something. But anyways, right, so that's like a bad sign. Is that the intelligence that's worth $100 billion that can run a company so well and can read Goldratt and not really tell the difference?
Yeah.
Right, okay, so he went to Princeton. This is suspicious. It's like a social climber kind of thing to do. It provides an alternative explanation. It is possible to be successful in the business world, not because of your great intelligence and merit and so on, but because you made friends with the right people at Princeton, and you have friends in government, and you got special treatment and so on.
Okay, I'm trying to think about this relating to Wynand. This seems like more Wynand than Keating. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't really recall friends in government Wynand has, but I do remember he had like dinners with senators or something.
Yeah.
He had
Okay.
like dinners with really high fancy people.
Yeah. So, does Amazon get favors from the government or from friends in high places or anything? I've never researched this, but I happen to know of one example offhand because I'm very interested in Apple and I've been following Apple news. So, once upon a time, Amazon had something like 90% of all ebook sales were Kindle, right? They're like dominating the market. And then Apple had iBooks or whatever. And was also selling ebooks, and Barnes and Noble was selling some, and some other people were even smaller, right?
So Amazon was the main thing, and then like Apple is like maybe 8% of the market or something.
Yeah, something roughly like that. Okay, so you might think that our government hates monopolies and people that are like controlling the market too much and have too much power imbalance and they can screw people over and blah blah blah.
Yeah, so they should
You
make
might think
regulations.
that Amazon would get investigated for monopoly, right?
Okay, here's my guess. They're going to make regulations to protect Amazon because other people are trying to compete in their business and it's unfair. They're trying to undercut Amazon. They're trying to undercut Amazon. What is that? Unfair competition. Yeah, I'm guessing Apple is trying to do unfair competition with intent to monopolize.
That is you're basically right. Yeah. Apple did not, however, undercut Amazon. Apple is known for higher prices, and Amazon is known for low prices. So Apple is actually selling books at higher prices. Is part of the story, but I think that's what happened. I'm not positive. Don't quote me on that. But anyways, the basic story is that the government went after Apple, not Amazon, and Apple fought it in court for a long time and fucking lost and had to pay a bunch of money and change their pricing practices because they were the monopoly that was destroying competition or something, not Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And Apple, by the way, has a reputation, and I've seen this with like following the news and stuff, for doing really badly in court, getting screwed over by the government, like not having friends in high places, having a tiny lobbying budget, having no one in Washington that likes them, and on, right?
So
I
Apple
think
doesn't
this
have
might be,
anyone?
yeah, I think like Apple is like really did not climb due to friends in government, and like I've seen examples and stuff. However, this is changing. They hired someone out of the Obama administration to work on the
Uh,
climate shit, for example.
I
So
like.
I think it's changing now.
Okay, I liked this quote from like Ayn Rand Lexicon Antitrust.
Yeah,
Uh,
antitrust is ridiculous.
I really like the part where it's like
Too
antitrust
high,
laws.
too low, and the same are all illegal.
Yeah,
It's that quote, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Too high is illegal, too low is illegal, and the same is illegal. So, and that is why Apple, with 10% of the market, could be the one who got sued by the government. Because no matter what you do, it's illegal. So it's just whoever the government decides to sue.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a couple more examples about Amazon that I know about that was helping me be skeptical of Reisman's view. So, I was a Twitch viewer before Amazon bought Twitch. In fact, I was paying just a little bit of attention back when Justin TV started, before Twitch existed. I
Hmm.
remember that Justin was like wearing a camera around during his life for like a long time, but I didn't actually watch it. But I knew it was happening. Right, so I've followed this shit for a while. And
Okay.
so Amazon bought Twitch, and what has happened since then?
Finished since then. Uh, so they have favoritism, I think. Upper Echelon made some videos about this, but I forget exactly what it was. I think they like protect certain people, and they're like really lenient with like people they prefer, but then if someone else does the same thing as the preferred people, they will be like way harshly punished. That's my initial thought.
Yeah, so they have like a SJW trust and safety team. They've had performance problems for their clips for like years, where
Hmm.
like you go try to watch clips and sometimes they don't play and shit. They basically haven't, like, their technology hasn't noticeably gotten better. Their user interface hasn't been getting better. Like, they've really just stagnated. Stag. Um,
Hmm.
it has not impressed me. Like, it doesn't seem like a well-run company. It doesn't seem innovative. It doesn't seem like they haven't like made forward progress. Like they've sort of coasted. That's my impression.
Huh.
Amazon bought Twitch. Twitch has coasted since then. Has done nothing very notable.
I feel like YouTube has like the SJW trust and safety team problem. I don't know how much of the other problems it has. I feel like it doesn't have the performance problems and stagnation that you talked about. I could be wrong.
YouTube is good at performance, but I think they've been stagnating for a very long time in terms of like making the site actually good. So, like, there's so many basic things they could do to make their site better and more usable that they just never get around to or something.
They removed a subscription.
Oh, and
Okay.
they fucked up so much when they integrated Google Plus and like merged accounts, and then like if you
Okay.
said things in chat that they didn't like, they'd ban your entire Google account because it was merged. So they like scared
Uh,
everyone out of using chat. It's still a huge ongoing problem that it's like dangerous to comment or chat on YouTube. And yeah, Google is like super censorship happy as well. So a lot of problems there.
hmm. Okay, one thing that was really annoying is before you could have like subscription collections. So if I wanted to, I could have like all the right wing people in like a subscription box and like all my gaming stuff in a subscription box, and then like anything else in like different subscription collections. And it would be like I could add like Kiri and Alan Forrester or whatever into one subscription thing, and then I could like click that, and I'd only see like uploads from them. But they removed that for some reason. It's really nice when you have like a lot of subscriptions, just being able to like kind of bunch them together. But they
Right.
stopped that
Like
for
I
some
don't have
reason.
my subscriptions organized on YouTube and it doesn't work very well for me, but Twitch is actually even worse. So there's that.
Oh right, the sidebar on Twitch is like just people who are live sorted by like people you follow who are live sorted by views, I think.
I forgot. I found with notifications basically on Twitch I just have to turn everyone off pretty much. It's just the system's awful. Anyways, yeah, I gotta go and tutor
Okay.
Max in 3 minutes, but um yeah, think about reading books. That's the main thing. And yeah, I thought the Bezos thing was interesting. Although like totally random in terms of what you need to learn.
Huh.
But it's you can take like a few data points, like these are just a few things I happen to know without researching Amazon at all. And then you can like maybe figure something out that's interesting. This relates to I was reading Eliza Yudkowsky and who's talking about how science could be more efficient with its evidence, as in you could figure out a lot more with less evidence. A lot of what scientists do is get like way more evidence than you need in order to figure something out, so that it gets like really hard to deny. And we could be more efficient and learn things faster, which I think is broadly true.
So you can be like more
And so
efficient.
like the one data point, like his current girlfriend, like that single thing, if you understand how the world works and various things, like it throws some doubt on a narrative.
This kind of reminds me of like James O'Keefe talked about uh something Acorn. He like did an Acorn investigation where they were like helping him with prostitution. Uh, and he said
Yes.
like it only took like $1,000 and it cut like hundreds of millions of dollars of funding for like $1,000 investigation.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely places where small things can have a big impact. You can get leverage. So those are really important. That's an important concept.
Yeah,
Writing a
so you
book
could be
sometimes
like
has leverage. Like you
yeah,
can
so you
write a
could
book and have
be
1 million people read it.
yeah, so like you could be next to a lever, and then with $1,000 of effort, like depending on how far away the lever is from something, it would like change how much effect it had. So if you're like on the moon and you're moving a lever that's attached to the Earth, that would move a fucking lot of stuff.
Yes, there's a famous saying about that. Like give me a long enough lever and I'll move the earth, I think, from Archimedes.
Huh.
All right, later.
But